as anime fans, after a while, something happens to you. After a while, you get to a point where you're like, I've seen so much anime. I'm used to the tropes of anime. I'm used
Mm-hmm.
to how the setups of anime. I'm used to all the shit that happens in anime. And your brain, unless it's a really egregious thing, kind of smooths over some of the rougher parts of anime. Like
Yeah.
you'll watch it and you won't even your brain don't even think about it. But that's not the case when you show something to somebody else, somebody that may not be into anime, like somebody that doesn't watch hella anime, or maybe they just watch Studio Ghibli anime, which to me is the same thing as saying I don't read comics, I read graphic novels. But that's neither here nor there. Uh, when you like those, the people that are like that, they not used to all the tropes and all the shit like that, and so there's certain anime that you might like, but you can't recommend. Uh, so one show that just came back that was hella popular, uh, and I mean, like, it was gone for a couple of years, but it was hella popular in the states. Was Rising of the Shield Hero, and that show was like super problematic for reasons, right? And I thought about it, and I'm like, you can't like I liked it. I thought it was all right? I understand the problematic element of it. You know, false rape accusations. Those aren't real. Like they happen, but they're so rare compared to actual rape accusations that like it's crazy to build a whole show around that. That was wild, and it was out of line for setting that up. Having said that, though, the world building of Shield Hero is straight enough, is good enough for me to watch it and enjoy it for the most part. But even then, there's an anime I can think of that I know me and Rakeem and Terrence saw that is way worse than that
Oh
in some
Lord.
ways.
Oh
Like, cause
Lord.
like I think one of our
Oh
favorite
no.
animes, definitely one of my favorite animes last year was Mushoku Tensei.
Mm-hmm.
Like that show was amazing. But the protagonist is sketch as hell, bro. That's a grown ass man out here being obsessed with kids and shit like that. And I mean, like they make it, they kind of hand wave it away in certain ways to make you like, okay, I can kind of. But even watching it, I'm like, I'll never ever recommend this to anybody that isn't a huge fucking ad. Never. I'm sorry, like I can't do it. And I mean, like it's interesting because like with Shield Hero, Naofumi's technically a good guy. Like he's an asshole in some ways, but the reason why he's an asshole is perfectly understood. Even though the false rape accusation thing, like that's not a thing in real life for the most part, but like that's what happened to him in the story, and so you have to go with that. And of course, like that's gonna change who you are as a character. It's gonna make you like a less trusting character. It's gonna make you more of a dick because like everybody naturally turned against you, and now you like angry at the world. And so like I get it, but he's like a fundamentally a good character. He goes around helping people. He goes around fixing the problems of all the other heroes, the sword hero, the bow hero, the spear hero. He goes around fixing they fuck ups. And so he's like a good dude. Rudius is not a good dude. He's a terrible fucking person. Like you actually see him grow over the course of the series. Like he starts out as a baby and he's a fucking pervert. He's like a really shitty pervert. And like as he ages, you see him struggle and suffer. And like like the reason why I'm bringing these two up is because Shield Hero is technically like an easier show to recommend, even though it's hard to recommend. But Mushoku Tensei is a better show, I would say. I would say it's better written. The world building's way better. The animation is, and Shield Hero's like the world building in Shield Hero is good. The animation in Shield Hero is good. Everything that Shield Hero does right, Mushoku Tensei does way better to me. And so it becomes one of those things where you're like, fuck, I love this show, but I can't recommend it to anybody, even though I look at this man take L's. Like there's some very real stuff that happens in that show. Like when that man confronted his dad, and I don't want to spoil too much of it, but like y'all know what I'm talking about. When he confronted his dad after he hadn't seen his dad in a long time, and I'm like obviously don't get too much more into it than that if y'all want to talk about it. But when he confronted his dad, like that was real shit. Like the way that he reacted and the way that they reacted with each other, that was like some heartbreaking stuff. And it's even better in the manga. Like that shit had me in tears. I was like heartbroken for this man. And like despite that, I can't recommend that show.